Okay, so we're gonna start the lower body segment, and for these we're gonna start with some squats. So squats are really multi muscle hit, quads, hamstrings, glutes, and also the good old core. So we always want to start by activating our core like we did at the very beginning. Now you can do squats with nothing at all, just completely just your body weight. Another option is to use our good old handy band, because one common or frequent issue is letting that the knees might roll in, and that can kind of be an indication of maybe weaker abductor or glutes. So having the band to push against can help with that. I'm going to demonstrate first the technique for a squat with no band, no weight, nothing. You're going to take your feet about shoulder distance apart, so a little more than hip distance apart. Your toes can either be forward or probably they're going to be just slightly turned out, somewhere between 5 to 30 degrees. Really just depends on what is comfortable for you. We're going to start by engaging our core. I'm going to start this first one demonstrating the technique with my hands at my hips. And as you start to move into your squat, you're going to think about hip hinge. So sitting your hips back behind you, engaging the core, so not letting the tail tilt too much and not tucking it, just keeping it nice Goldilocks position. Sitting back into the heels, you can let your knees come in front of your ankles, but keep them maybe not right at your toes or a little behind. So you want to be able to see probably your toes and let your weight come into your heels. Keep this little hip hinge. The gaze is forward, so your neck is just nice and lengthened. So not craning your neck, not tilting down. And then keeping this upper body open. So noticing sometimes the tendency is to let the upper body round in. So we're gonna start with our hands at our hips. We're gonna start to sit the hips back, engage the core, gaze is forward. Your back will lean slightly forward, but keeping the chest open. And then exhale to come up. So you can keep with this hands at your hips. You can also draw your hands, your elbows at shoulder height, maybe even coming into a little prayer position. You can take your arms out straight, even adding a little pull in. Again, we'll exhale as we lift up, and we'll do a few more here. Notice what's happening with your knees. If you start to notice that they're rolling in, try to press them out. And again, we'll do a set with the band, and you can see how that feels if you've got the band. Noticing the core staying nice and strong, inhaling on the way down, exhaling on the way up. Now, I'm gonna do these, I'm doing these with my hips really not dipping below my knees. Now some people, some squats, deeper level squats are also okay to do. If it's okay for your body, you can go below your knees, but in these videos, I'm gonna keep with them at knee height. All right, so that's our squats. We'll come back to those and we'll do another set when we do it a couple more times. The next thing we're gonna do are deadlifts. So for deadlifts, these again are great hamstring and glute work. You're gonna have your feet about hip distance apart, and we're gonna roll the shoulders back again, lift through the core. I'm gonna have a little bend in my knees. I'm gonna keep my chest open as I again start to hinge at my hips. Let the hips go back, let the weight go into the heels. Inhale as you slowly lower down, and then exhale, draw up. So the weights are facing in. I'm going to really just slide the weights along my legs, and then exhale to come up. Inhale to come down, exhale to come up. And again, I'm gonna keep the neck nice and long. Inhale to come down, exhale to come up. So the key here is to keep that back straight, so there's no strain in the back. There's no strain on the back. It's really all mostly in the glutes and hamstrings, pushing to lift up, really engaging through the legs, keeping the shoulder blades squeezed together, keeping the core strong, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. That one I kind of rolled forward a little, so notice that's a tendency, is to let the shoulders roll forward. Keep shoulder blades squeezing and exhale to come up. And we'll do a couple more on the way up. If you want to come up pretty much to neutral position, sometimes there's a tendency to really jam the hips forward. We're going to just come straight up to neutral. Great. So those are our hip hinges. Now the next move, we're actually going to use the band, and then we'll go ahead and move right into the squats. So if you have a band, we're going to do a band walk. If you don't have a band, you don't even need one. You can walk side to side without the band. And again, if you don't have a band, it's no big deal. Sliding the band right over the ankles. We're going to try to keep our toes parallel, or toes going straight, and we're going to keep a little bend in the knees, and the steps are going to be kind of super tiny. And as best as you can, you're going to try to stay level. Keep the head and shoulders level as you move to one side and move to the other side. Lifting through again, engaging through the core, stepping side to side, keeping that little bend in the knees. Tiny, tiny steps. Try to keep it as level as you can. These are pretty challenging. And again, like I said, if you don't have a band, you can still do these. They still work moving sideways, and it's good anyway to move your body laterally side to side. So it's something we really don't do often. We mostly go forward. Sometimes we go back, but usually we just go forward. So this is good to kind of challenge ourselves to even move in a different direction, again, with or without this band. I like to do probably at least 10 steps each direction 3 times. And so do that as you get it done. And then let's come back, and if you've got the band, let's go ahead and do a set of squats with the band around our knees. And you'll just see how this feels. Again, bringing your feet about shoulder distance apart. Toes might be slightly out. Again, we're going to hip hinge and then press up. And just notice if you've got this band on, how it feels to press against the band. If you don't have the band, you're just pressing your knees out. Again, you can draw your arms forward or up, sitting back into the heels and lifting up. Inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. And keep working here for about 5 more reps. Especially if you're not using weights, you can do 12 to 15 of these. No problem, I'm sure. And great. And then one more option on the squats I thought I'd go ahead and show is, sometimes this is called a goblet squat. And you hold the weight like you're holding a goblet. Again, you come into that same stance we've been doing, and we're gonna lower and lift. And so obviously adding the weight, it's gonna add a little bit more intensity to this. So you wanna work first without the weight, so you really get that good body position. Feel what it feels like to engage the core. Inhale, sit the hips back. Keep the gaze forward. Nice long spine. You'll really feel this in your glutes. Doing a couple more here. You can always come back and do another set of these. Then we're going to do one more set of those deadlifts with the weights. So for this one, we won't use the band. Go ahead and take your weights. And again, if you don't have weights, you don't even have to use weights. So finding that good starting point. Engage through the core, shoulders release down the back, little bend in the knees, begin to inhale, on the inhale, begin to lower slowly down. Exhale, drive it up. Inhale, lower slowly down. Exhale, drive it up. Inhale, lower slowly down. Exhale, drive up. And continuing to move with whatever tempo. So I wouldn't go any faster than I'm going. If you'd like to go more slowly, you can. Really emphasize the eccentric concentration. So that's the lowering part. So again, another, I talked about isometric. Concentric is when we shorten the muscle. Eccentric is when we lengthen the muscle with resistance. So here we're lengthening the hamstrings as we're including that resistance. Doing a couple more here. And then the last one I wanted to show is some quad work. So if your knees are in good shape and doing lunges is good for you, lunges are really great for quads and for glutes. If you'd like an alternative to the lunge, I'm going to offer one here. You can take a towel or two, roll them up so they're in a nice little roll. And then this is puts no strain on the knee joint. You sit up nice and tall, place your towel underneath the knee, and then as I press my knee into my towel, the heel's gonna lift, the toes are gonna draw forward. I'm gonna hold it for about a count of 5, then I'm gonna release. And I'll do 10 of these on each side. And so you can go ahead and do 10 on each side. I'm gonna just show you one more exercise while you're here. The other one you can do is turning the toes out at about 45 degrees. Really find a nice strong core here. And you're gonna just lift and hover the foot off the floor just a couple inches, again for a count of 5, and then release. What that works is another part of the quad. So the quad is 4 muscles. This works the inner quad. You'll probably feel it on your inner thigh. So again, you can do 10 of these isometric quad engagement on each leg, and then 10 little lifts. And hopefully that'll give you a good start to your lower body strengthening. Thanks. Bye-bye.